It's really great to see such a good turnout. I'm really happy all of you came out. I think it's going to be very much worth your while. I am honored to introduce to you my friend and teacher. He's an elder of the Cherokee Nation. For the past 20 years, he has lectured all over the eastern United States on various topics of Native American culture and religion, as he's doing tonight. He has worked with various people you may recognize, such as Leonard Peltier and Russell Means. He has been an active member of Native American issues and various movements, such as AIM, since 1960. He was the president of the American Indian Association of Florida for 5 years. He served on Florida's the Florida Governor's Council of Indian Affairs for 6 years. He is presently serving as an Indian School Board, or on the Indian School Board in Cherokee. He is the current founder of the Native American Worship Center, which he'll talk to you about tonight. And he serves as a teacher and counselor of Cherokee traditions for many people. He lived in Athens, strangely enough, in the 60s. And so because of that, we'd like to welcome him back to Athens. Please help me welcome my friend and teacher, Gene Rowe.
Thank you. I'd like, first of all, to say I appreciate the elders who come out. It would not be for our elders and our people, a lot of things yet today would be in limbo, but because of their faithfulness and because of their goodwill and good spirits, we've accomplished a lot, and I always want to recognize our elders. And I want to thank all the people who made it possible for me to come here today. The trip was nasty, bad weather, rain, sleet. I don't know what all we run into, but after we got here and run out all the warm spirits of the people from around here, we just cheered up in a real quick hurry, and it just makes me feel real good to be here tonight. And I appreciate seeing some people that I've met in Parkersburg and other places and other times that I've been there. And I want to thank them for coming tonight. And I'm going to talk for a little while, and then I'll open it up for some questions for a while, and we'll just kind of play it by ear, see what goes on and how we make out. We're going to talk tonight about the Native American religion and culture as far as the eastern United States is concerned. I can't talk about Western Indian traditions and their culture because I'm not from there. So we're going to talk about the eastern United States and some of the progress that's been made, some of the things that hasn't happened, some of the things we hope yet will begin to happen. And because of people such as what we have here tonight and the enthusiasm of Native Americans and awareness and things and programs that's going on, we are seeing some things accomplished, but not as great as what we'd like to have. But I was just thinking, when I was here in 1963, it was a long time ago, and that was before probably half of you was even born. When you guys hadn't even come to discover America yet. And I was here, and now I'm back here again. It just sounds like time moves on or something. I don't know or where it goes to, but I felt like I was the same age as when I was here in '63. I felt like I haven't grown or gotten any older or any younger. It just seems like everything's remained the same. Although when I see all these buildings and the changes of the buildings and stuff, I know there's been a lot of progress made. And I don't know how many students was here then, but the population of the students here now are far greater than they were then. But that was in the days of the hippies and all the good times they had with them playing the guitar down on the Hawken River. Some of the greatest memories I had was here during those times. Those times are all gone, and we've gone a long way since then. But I was talking to somebody, and I was telling them that, I came back from I don't know how old I am, but I remember back before plastic. Did you remember before plastic? Before ballpoint pens? Before, when a telephone, they had one or two in a community, and you kind of went to your neighbors and hoped to be able to use a telephone, and now everybody's got 2 or 3 in the house, and one in the car, and fax machines, and all the other things that go along with it. And time really has moved on. In fact, I can remember some of the dirt roads that come across Ohio back in those times, and now we've got super highways that's replaced them. And in fact, in 1963, there wasn't any interstates that came near. The nearest one was Highway 71 and went through Columbus to up towards Akron and down towards Florida. That was the nearest interstate there was, and now we've got interstates everywhere. So progress is being made all around us, and yet Native Americans yet today still live far below poverty. I was talking to this gentleman a while ago, and I told him, I said, the average Native American today makes an average of $3,000 a year. I said, well, why don't they get out and get a job? Because they just can't break loose from the old traditions of ways that we're going to talk about tonight. Some traditions are good, some hold us back. And some of the things that we've done away with, we're now going back to because we found that was the hub that made us roll. And I think one of the things is the medicine wheel. We're going to talk about the medicine wheel a little bit. That's part of our religion. The type ceremony was part of our religion, and we're going to go back and talk about it a little bit. But I think we got to realize that Native Americans have kind of got into a place where they're waiting for a savior to come and pull them out. And I was telling him, I said, you know, I think we're going to have to rise up and do it ourselves. We're going to have to go back to our beginnings and our roots and begin to practice some of the old things that made grandmother what she was, and some of the things that, you know, happened then. We can make them happen again if we just, you know, kind of go back to some of our old roots. If I was to ask you how many people here was religious, probably everybody would say they're religious. If I asked you how many know anything about your culture, you'd say, well, I don't know too much about my culture. Well, if Native Americans, one is the same, and one is the religion is the same as the culture, and the culture is the same as the religion. You can't have one without the other. And in my home, when I was growing up, it was very, very important that we listen to what grandmother said. Grandmother or the elders in our house. Disrespect has taken over so much of our country today. That's why we're in some of the shapes we're in. We don't have the respect for other people. And that's part of our culture, is to have respect for other people, their property, what they stand for, who they are, and the right that they have, the right to be who they are. I can remember back in my school days when I sat at the back in a schoolroom around a round table with other Native American children, a couple black children, and a Puerto Rican kid. We were all sat at the back of the class. I never could figure out why we sat at the back of the class. And a friend of mine said it was because we was all slow. Well, I knew that wasn't right, because I liked all the girls there, and they were fast. I knew that couldn't be the right answer. But things have changed. But a lot of things have not yet changed. And that's what we'd like to see happen today, is a lot of the things that was going on then, we'd like to see them begin to go on in our lives today. I have a little thing here. I'll turn this on. You can watch it up there. How many know anything about the medicine wheel? Well, we got a quarter of the crowd knows something about the medicine wheel. Native Americans seem to have been one of the common things that Native Americans had in common was the medicine wheel. It was practiced by more tribes than any other one religion. It and the pipe ceremony. The medicine wheel was kind of discouraged during the time the government was more in control and was watching everything we did, and they was trying to Christianize all the Indian people. And when that didn't work, they brought down blankets that was filled with smallpox and allowed our children to die and the old people to die. And they did this all under Christianity. And that is not religion. That's, I don't know, you can call that whatever you want to call it. That's not religion. Religion is a frame of mind where I feel that you are as well and as equal as I am. Then you have a religious base. And that's what you find during the medicine wheel. I'll turn this on. There it is. As you notice, some of this was taken from Sun Bear's writings from out of his book. You might be able to find what month you was born in and what your sign is, and it'll put you in a position of where you are. We feel that the Creator created not only man, but he created all the trees, the mountains, the birds, all the stars and everything else. And when he created those things, he created all of them to worship him. And he wanted us to worship him through our spirit. And he wanted us to be a part of each other. He did not want us to be separate. And I think when we talk about organized religion, we talk about separation. And I don't want to use any denominational names, but every denomination seems to have its little power of pulling you over to this side and saying, this is what we believe, and this is what we believe. You know the story, everybody has their own little beliefs. But the Creator wanted us to all be the same. And if you look at the medicine wheel, you'll see the there, you'll see the west side, the east side, the north side, south side, and then the Great Spirit in the center. And all these things worship the Creator. And if we can become part of them, then we become part of something that's live. My ex-wife, and I use that term loosely, ex, because I don't even know where she's at. She just disappeared several years ago and took off. But she could not understand how we could be talking to trees or, talk to the animals. But Native Americans find it very easy. It was part of our culture to be able to communicate with other things that the Creator had created. It brings a sense of togetherness. I think when we separate ourselves to a denominational barrier or a four-walled cathedral, we separate ourselves from the great beauties that the great Creator has given to us. I'm not much on tags. I don't think the Creator is. I don't think He cares tonight whether we call Him the Creator. I don't think He cares whether we call Him God. I don't think He cares whether we call Him Buddhist. I don't think He cares what we call Him, because He's not impressed with tags. What He is impressed with is, do we like our neighbor? And are we good to our mother and our brother? That's what He's concerned about. My brother is trees, the beauty of outside. I shouldn't destroy that which is so beautiful. So I don't know if you can see on there where you're at, but I have some of these drawn up, and I'm going to give them to those who want them as long as they last. I think there's about 100 of them there. So I don't know how many people is here tonight, but if you can come down and get one of these, it looks just like that, and maybe take it home, and maybe it'd be some interest to you. But we feel that once you find your spot and become in reality to it, what is going on around you, and worship together with the beauty of the great creation, then we have a better understanding of where we're at. Also, we use the Four Winds pipe a lot. The Four Winds pipe is a pipe that represents the four corners of the earth. I've been teaching the pipe ceremony for, I don't know, I guess 35, 40 years. And there is a way that you take a pipe. You don't take a pipe and disrespect it. You don't smoke pot, a peace pipe. It's a religious symbol. It's it's like going to a communion service and being disrespectful to a communion service or something else. You use it religiously and sacredly. And when I take my pipe out, I always awake my pipe from the ground. You take a little bit of the earth, you rub it on the pipe, you bring it back into reality, and a real peace pipe has everything on it that is, it's either made from part of the wood, part of the buffalo, part of the clay, something, but it's all natural sources. And I've seen some real magical things happen during peace pipe ceremonies. I think that sometimes we take these things too lightly. We don't understand what they're doing, so we just kind of go through it rather than get somebody to teach us the right way. But it's a very good way to respect the great Creator. I think that sometimes we look at all these religious factors and we look at all these things around us and we say, well, we're all going to the same place. We're all doing the same thing. But I believe that there's a lot of people today that are rising up who really want to walk and the sacredness of Mother Earth and to see some things accomplished. She said that, you know, I was with different groups and different movements, and I guess in my time, since I'm a little older now, I've learned some lessons that some things you don't accomplish some things by any type of force, that you do it mostly by prayer. But there used to be a time in my life when I thought, you know, we could force people to do what we want them to do, but it just doesn't work that way. Native Americans today are suffering from the largest amount of alcoholism is in the Native Americans. 80% of all Native Americans in the United States are within the alcohol range. Either they are alcoholics, their wife, their mother, their father, or someone in that home is an alcoholic. We got sugar diabetes that's killing our people, and nobody seems to be able to stop it. We got heart trouble that's hurting our people. But the #1 killer is suicide among our people. Suicide takes out more Native American young men than any other thing among the Native Americans. And it's simply because we're failing to go back to where our roots was and our culture and take a hold of the things that really mean something to us. On the reservation in Cherokee right now, they teach the medicine wheel, as I showed you there. When they go to the crisis center, they teach the medicine wheel. They teach sweat lodges. And they're taking people away back to where they used to be, our roots, or where we began from. And we're the only people on the face of the earth, we were talking about this just a little while ago, we're the only people on the face of the earth today that still the government tells us where to go and what to do just about it. We have a VIA card with a number on it. That number tells us where we can buy land at, who we can buy land at, what hospital we go to, whether the government or you take care of us at their hospital or send us to another hospital. It controls everything just about that we do. And yet we try to make progress. How do you make progress when the government won't allow us to make progress? We're going to have a Native American service right now tonight in this building. If I was to bring into here eagle feathers and sit down to have a ceremony, chances are somebody would call the law and they'd come down and arrest somebody for illegally displaying of eagle feathers. And yet it's part of our culture, it's part of our religion, it's part of something we've done forever and ever. We've always used them. And yet the government doesn't want us to do it. Last year in the state of Pennsylvania, the wildlife people came into the powwows and arrested about 40 or 50 Native Americans that had eagle feathers on or hawk feathers or something that pertained to wildlife. And so the wildlife people came and wrote them subpoenas to come to court, and they fined them. It's a misdemeanor of $200, but why should we have to do that when anybody else can have their religious ceremonies anywhere in the world and nobody says nothing about it? But the minute a Native American sits down on a street corner and has a pipe ceremony, I'll guarantee you some people's going to show up that's going to have some blue lights in a row. Me and Mark here, we had a pipe ceremony in a park over in Lincoln. We had a pipe ceremony over in Parkersburg in a park, and all these people was driving by and walking by, and I just knew it wouldn't be very much longer that somebody would show up that we didn't want to see. But it didn't happen. But the government wants to control our religion. Why? Are they afraid of it? My answer was, they are afraid of our religion, because we feel like that we're a religion that keeps us in tune and in touch with not only the earth, but our people around us and the Creator. And so I think that we've got to get to the point that the government hears us, that this is our prayer and our cry. The Religious Act of 1973, how many know anything about the Religious Act, the Indian Religious Act? He knows something about it. Of course he would, he's a professor. He's got to know. He can't be here and being smarter than him tonight. He's got to know. Okay, the Religious Act that was created to give the Indians the right to worship. The right to be together, the right to assemble together, just like a Baptist group would, or a Methodist group, or some other denomination. But the trick is, they put it as an if law. If everybody agrees to this, then it's a law. But if everybody doesn't agree to it, then it's no longer a law. Now, do you remember a law like that the government had made? Well, I'll show it to you. This is what we live with. This is what we contend with. Okay, there it is. Public Law 95, 341, 95th Congress, Public Awareness of the Indian Religious Act. In that act, we had a family in Cherokee that was part Indian and part Spanish. And they were poor, couldn't afford to feed their family like a lot of people could, and they were struggling. And the government decided that the children would be better off, these are Native American children, would be better off in a non-Indian home rather than an Indian home with its own people, its own culture, its own family, its own surroundings, things it's used to every day. It would be better off in somebody else's home than in that home. So the government stepped in and took them twins out of the house and gave them to a non-Indian family. This was just last year. We appealed it under this law and the Indian Child Welfare Act law and said that under this law, this guarantees us the right to have our own children. And the Children Indian Welfare Act, we said next to this, so certainly those kids should be returned back. Now here's a picture of them. That's a picture of the twins and the little girl. And that's the grandmother. They live down the street from me. Twins are still in a non-Indian home. And the mother has no money to fight the government, has no money to appeal any decisions. No one will help her. This law isn't worth a hill of beans that the government passed because that's an if law. If everybody would agree to it, if the government and the courts would agree and the family would agree, then it would have been a law. Then it would have applied to them. They could have kept the kids. But because the laws like this is sloppily written on behalf of Native Americans, that's why these children, these twin boys, Johnny and Mark, right now are in a non-Indian home. I think, it's my opinion, that any family that has any kind of ties or roots, those children ought to be with that family. If they're a black family, I think that those children ought to be in that family's home and in that surrounding and taught by that family. If they're white, I think they ought to do the same. Not because I'm a racist or not because I believe in any racial division, but because you can teach them your way of cultural life where somebody else can't teach them. I could not begin to teach them anything else other than Native American, because that's why I was brought up. You know, that's the only thing I know. So that's the only thing I could teach them. And how could somebody else come in and teach them something else? So that's the kind of laws that we are dealing with in the government today. It's sad. That's the thing we go through. Now, part of our culture is that the mother takes care of those children, you know, like any other mother does. And when they get to a certain age, we have ways of doing things that maybe doesn't look normal to somebody else, but a lot of our uncles will raise those children in the second half of their life. It's not unusual for another member of another family to take that child home and teach them what they know, because you've already taught them everything you knew. So obviously, you know, after they've got 9, 10 years old, it's not uncommon for those kids to go to an uncle's house and the uncle to raise them. And but how can they do it in this kind of an environment? It can't be done. So if you want to see those pictures of those kids and there's enough information on the back, you want to write them, talk to them, or give them a little bit of encouragement. I'm pretty sure their address is on the back. If it isn't, just write it to Linda Crow and Cherokee Reservation, and she'll get it. He's recorded me. He's going to have trouble. I knew he's going to have trouble with me. But our culture goes far beyond a lot of the teachings that they're going to get in a non-Indian home, because we take our children and teach them things. I've seen Indian people come to my house, sit their little daughter up on the side of the porch board, get their stuff out, start chopping up the onions or whatever they're going to make. That baby sitting right there beside me, thinking, get their fingers chopped off, but they're learning something. That kid's right there with them. They're not at somebody else's home. They're not at the babysitter's home. You know, we're the only people that never had taken our old people to the old people's home, because we believe in taking care of them. We take them home as part of our culture. We don't have a lot of children in children's homes, because the simple reason is we take care of our own children. We don't shove them off to somebody else. We take care of those children. That's part of our bringing up. That's part of our culture. It's part of our religion. To make sure that boy or girl has the proper, whatever it needs to get through life. It may not have the finest things, but it'll get through life. And I've never met a Native American. Maybe some of these people can tell me they have, but I doubt it. I've never met a Native American that didn't have some kind of a talent. They could make a living with their hands or their mind or something without any kind of an education. Because the Creator gave us a lot of inside knowledge of how to create things and to work with our hands and to be a part of something. Now, I'm going to take a little of this time, break it up, and let you ask some questions, because it might give me a direction that you want to go in a certain way, and we can address those problems. If you want to talk about something that's going on currently on the reservation, I can tell you some of the current things that's going on. If you want to talk about some of the things of the past, they can't really help us much because of the things of the past, but if it's of importance to you, maybe we can address it. So does anybody have a question?
You were talking to me earlier about a naming ceremony. I was curious as to what actually goes on in the naming ceremony.
A lot of Native Americans usually get 3 names in a lifetime. When you're born, your grandfather or somebody in that family, an elder in that family, somewhere names your children. They'll say your son's going to be called Running Bear. And they carry that name into a certain age, and then they're given another name which becomes their regular name. But in a pipe ceremony or a ceremony where you get a name, it's where the Creator gives you a name. And he gives it to a medicine man, medicine woman, some spiritual elder of the tribe, somebody who's in touch with reality, finds a name. Like if it's a woman who works with pottery, it may be the pottery lady, or something that shows something that you are doing in life. And that becomes a name that a lot of Indians carry on through their whole life. I've always just stuck with my name. My name was Gene Rowe when I was born. It's Gene Rowe now. I guess it'll be Gene Rowe when I die. I'm like Russell Means. Russell said, I got blessed with one name, that's enough. I can't hardly remember it at times. So that's the way I am. I don't want to try to remember another name. But there's lots of Native Americans that have got another name that they go by. And we accept that. And a lot of times, on birth certificates, it'll have the first name that the grandparent had given in parentheses, and then another name that is its regular name. And we call them Christian names, but that's just a name that we use because the government used it. But that's how naming ceremonies is given. It's somebody who is an elder, who is in touch with creation, and can find a name that fits you as a person, shows your direction in life. Any other? Yeah.
You spoke about the pipe ceremony. Could you tell us a little bit about the significance of the pipe itself and the importance of the ceremony? What's maybe the goal of it?
The pipe itself?
The pipe and the ceremony?
The pipe becomes the altar. And it's kind of like an organized religion. It's you've got an altar in an organized religion, and this is our altar. This is something between us and the Creator, and it's usually when it's made out of clay. It's clay that has been chosen for that pipe. And when you get that pipe in, and you decorate it to suit your feelings, and it becomes part of your religious act. It becomes part of your life. when you pray with the smoke, and the smoke goes up before the Creator and tells Him or wears Him that something in your life needs attention, just like a regular prayer of anybody else. And so we use the pipe as part of the altar between us and the Creator.
Can you describe what goes on a pipe? What parts there are to it? Because I know the parts.
Well, I don't know why. I didn't bring my pipe with me. I normally always do. The bowl and the stem, are disconnected. There are some tribes that when a Native American gets done with smoking the pipe, he breaks the pipe down and puts it in a pouch. I personally do not practice that. I leave my pipe together because I feel that it's all one piece. It's not two pieces, it's one piece, and I feel it's important for it to stay together. However, when I do have a ceremony of any kind, when I smoke the pipe, I always dig a little hole from the earth, take a little of that earth and rub it across and besides the bowl of that pipe to let it know that it once was part of the earth and it still is part of the earth. And before I do anything, I always reward back Mother Earth a little of the tobacco we use. And our tobacco is not tobacco used like in cigarettes, in Camel cigarette commercial. Ours is kinnikinnick, which is used with different herbs and different things. And the real kinnikinnick has no tobacco whatsoever in it. It's all different kinds of herbs. And when you put a little of that, when you go open your pipe up, you put a little of that down in the hole, and you take that and put a little bit in your pipe, and you're bringing both the earth and it back together once again. It's now connected back with Mother Earth. And then you go back to where we was, that pipe, on that skit, where it shows us as one big creation. When I go out and pray, I would like to think somebody's listening. Otherwise, what's the use of praying? So when I go out to pray, and I take my pipe with me, I'm hoping that He's up there listening to me. And that's why I said a while ago, I don't think He's impressed with what tag number we're going to call Him by, because He wants us to be a part of something. And part of that whole thing is being what I was talking about all this time. It's part of our culture. Our culture is part of our religion. You can't separate it. And so that's what our pipe bowl becomes part of. It's our altar to the Creator. And also, if we took a 4-winds pipe and stood it up on its end, it looks like a cross. A lot of Native Americans have adopted in the last 100 years Christianity to a great extent. We have taken what parts of Christianity that we felt was applicable to us as Native Americans and applied it to our lives. Christianity is the real Christianity is a form of Native American religion. It's just we feel that denominations have tagged their part onto it and separated themselves from the real part of worship. We believe, I say we, there's a lot of Native Americans who believe that when Jesus was born and was about 12 years of age, how many of you know what happened to him? Does anybody know what happened to Jesus at the age of 12? He got lost. That's right, he got lost. And they went back to find him, and he was busy, and from that point on, he's never heard of again until just a few days before he's crucified. Now, Native Americans have adopted the philosophy, and you can accept it, reject it. I'm not here to convince you or to convert you or anything else. I'm just merely telling you a part of our culture and our religion. We feel that Christ came and left at the age of 12, came down through into Africa, taught the African people the culture, the love, the respect, the religion, and things that they needed to know, and traveled on until they got to the United States. He was part here and part of in the United States, walked, because the Seneca people, the Cherokee people, had knowledge of the man in the boat when the missionaries got here. There's other things that gives me evidence to believe that might have been the occurrence of the way that happened. And then we believe that he left here, went up through Russia and followed the thing, trail back, and ended back up in to where in Jerusalem he was. You can take the geographic map and follow it around, and you can almost see where that would be a possibility a couple thousand years ago. It's strange to me that in Africa, they have pottery that's similar to our pottery. They have chiefs of their clans and tribal laws. They had cultures that was very similar to ours. They had beadwork and design. Now, you either tell me somebody had their ear to the ground and listened to a spirit somewhere, that how did that all occur down through that generation and over, and when they come to discover America, they thought we were Jewish people. They thought we were from India, and they thought that, the pottery they found certainly indicated that we had the same pottery they had in Jerusalem during the time of Christ. Now, there has to be something to the teachings that somebody taught somebody all these tricks of the trades all the way down through. Now, like I say, I'm not here to teach you the philosophy. I'm just merely here to tell you that it is a part of Native Americans' culture. And we believe that Christ came down through those trades and taught us. We feel that the church is the one that stepped out of line and went and carried their things too far. Christ himself taught, when you want to pray, where did he tell you to go? Go to the cathedral to pray? Go to the mountains to pray. What did he say about the hills and the mountains? He said, they'll listen. He said, when they fail to listen, they'll cry out against them. But there's a lot of the teachings of Christ that we find in our religion today. I'm not here to tell you all Native Americans believe that, but I'm here to tell you that a lot of Native Americans, especially in the East Coast, believe that somewhere Christ made this journey as a teacher down through these places and came and taught us and walked with us and talked with us, because when he went back, he told his disciples, and I don't know what it's at, so I have to go look it up, but he told his disciples, I have sheep from other folds which you know nothing about. Now, they'd been everywhere he'd been. They not know everything he knew, but he was telling them about people that there was a form of worship that he had taught somewhere else. He said, there, I have sheep from other folks that you know nothing about. So, who was he talking about? He had been talking about somebody that he had taught somewhere else. Where was the account of, who can give an account of where he was from the time he was 12 until he was crucified? Nobody. So we got about 27 years that he was gone, and nobody knows anything about. And the cultures, teachings of ours come so similar to some of the things that's taught in other parts of the world. It just almost would scare you. You sit down and begin to think, how did we ever come up with this? How did they ever come up with in Africa have chiefs and tribal council and clans? And here we are over here, these young people over here in this part of the United States that don't have any kind of knowledge. We're a bunch of ignorant people. That's what the government thought we was. They wanted to work us over and Christianize us and change us and modernize us and cut our hair and wash our face and clean it up and set us out and made us out puppets and wanted us to be just like them. Well, unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, we are not just like them. We are separate people. We believe in the Creator. We believe that we should be free. We believe we should worship. We believe we ought to have the right to love one another. We believe we ought to have the right to have a ceremony, wherever we want to have it. Hey, I don't know. I might start preaching in a minute. Who else got a question? Yes.
You talked a little bit about the Native American attitude of outsiders practicing religion.
They don't have any problem with it. What I have a problem with is when I see the Braves on television chopping away at something I call sacred and playing drums out on the field with a drum that I call the heartbeat of Mother Earth, then I have a problem with that. But I don't have a problem with anybody, whether they be of any other nation or culture or anything else. I have no problem with them worshiping. The problem is personally when I see the Braves and some of these other ballparks displaying Native American things and makes a mockery out of it. If we did that, they'd have us in jail. If I had, if Native Americans did some of the things and mocked their church, they'd have us in jail. But they're allowed to do it, see, and get by with it. But I have problems with that. Yes. Yes. Well, Sundance is a Western part of their culture. I have no problem with them doing it. I don't do it. I have no intention to do it unless the Creator directs me to do it. I don't feel it's necessary for me, but it is part of their culture. And I say, go to it, brother. You got my blessing, because it's part of their upbringing, part of their culture. And what it is, it works for them. I tell people when they come to me as a counselor and ask me something, I say, look, don't get rid of anything you've got. Obviously, it works for you to a certain point, or you wouldn't have had it held on to it this long. But let me add something more to it. Let me tell you about the medicine wheel. Let me tell you about the sweat lodge. Go there and get pure in your body and your mind. You know, we got to get both things pure. One can't be pure without the other. The mind has to be pure, and so does the body. What I mean by that, you can't take somebody that's stoned and have them praying for you. That don't work. You've got to have a pure, clean mind to be able to get in touch with the great Creator. And I find fault with people who practice things and use our peace pipe or the sweat lodge for other purposes other than what it's intended for. But I believe in the sweat lodge. I go to sweat lodges. I've been to sweat lodges. I'll be to more sweat lodges. And I think they work, and that's why I hang on to it. I believe it's a part of my culture. It helps me get away from the problems of life. It helps me clean up myself, my act, my mind, and get myself in a position where I can get victory over things that's bothered me. You know, you'll either get rid of problems, or problems will get rid of you. And the best way to do it is in a sweat lodge and praying and be there with your mind clear and get a sense of direction where you should be going and what you should be doing in life and who you should be helping and all that stuff. Yes, I believe in them. No, I've never been to I've seen sun dances, but I've never participated.
Are there any other major Eastern tribal ceremonies other than the
Well, that's the most practiced. There are other dances that are done. We have a corn dance. It's done in the spring. We have don't laugh, but we have a dance we call the boogeyman dance. And it doesn't do what you think it's going to do. It just helps a person to be able to get in touch with reality. And I think that's what it's all about, getting in touch with reality. I want to know how you feel. I want you to know how I feel. If something bothers me, I want you to tell me. If something bothers me, I want to tell you. I want to be an open communication with people. And that's the best way to do it is during ceremonies. And these other ceremonies that are done are not done as widely as the medicine wheel, the powwows. Powwows have become more useful. They help the urban Indians and outside tribes be able to stay in touch with the roots, and they're a blessing. They're a real blessing. They teach the culture. They teach our dancing. They teach, you know, there's something about the religion I meant to mention, and I overlooked it. The religion usually, in most tribes, balances off of the man. The man is the main source of religion. If the man is a very religious man in that home, the whole household is looked at as being real religious. But if the man's not a very religious man, then the whole household is regarded as not being too religious. So it kind of bounces off of that, what the man does. And that's also part of our culture. If you come down there today, most of the women, the older women especially, when I carry on a conversation with you, they'll carry on one with your wife. If you're a man, they'll carry on one with your wife. They probably won't carry on one with you. The man does all the communicating. It's still done, you know, pretty much practiced all the time. It's a respect thing. It doesn't have anything to do with one being better than another. It's just a respect for the man being the breadwinner and the person who is the strong one in the family to protect.
So what is the major, women's roles in Native American?
Well, without a good woman, there is no home. She's not only the teacher, she's usually the herb gatherer, she's usually the medicine person of the house. She probably plays the more important part in the home than he does. He's just more the spokesman. She's probably the strongest one of the two because she's there with the kids. Years ago, when men went out to hunt, they went out to hunt, they'd be gone for 2 or 3 days or a week at a time, and she had to be the strong one of the house. And she still is probably the strong keeper of the home. She applies everything to her.
In keeping with what you're saying, would you talk about man killer, the
Well,
chief of the
Cherokee woman?
Yes.
Well, she got the job almost by accident. Cherokee in North Carolina and out west both have women chiefs. This becomes almost contradictory to what we're just talking about. But man killer in Oklahoma was the assistant to a swimmer. Swimmer became head of Bureau of Indian Affairs in Washington, and she automatically then took his job for, I think it was 6 months or 7 months, which was whatever was left. But because she had so much influence among families and family ties and bringing the families together, holding people together, and organizing, that it was easier for her to get reelected next time. And, it's been no problem for her. She's had some problems like everybody else, but that's politics, as everyday politics in the market. But we have just elected a woman chief on our tribe. It's yet to be seen how it's going to turn out. Right now, it seems like she's for the people. She wore her native clothes through the ceremony. She's give up much light to different things that goes on the tribe that had been overlooked, ceremonial things, and she's given more attention to the ceremonial grounds that had become kind of almost a weed patch, and she's given attention to it. So I think it all kind of comes back to the fact that the woman is the strong person in the family, although the man is the power structure, and that's just the way our culture is. I don't look for it to change anytime soon because our kids come up with that in their mind, and that's the way they accept it, and it's just the way it is. And that's just the way it's going to be.
Is matrilineal tradition still practiced in the church?
The what?
Matrilineal, the passing down of the land goes through the mother's side.
Yeah. Yeah, of course, with Cherokee, see, most of them are already, they're already there, so it's not a problem. But what he's saying is that the religious aspect, or whether that family becomes enrolled or whatever, always falls back to the woman's side of the family. If a man, for instance, was, say he was a Navajo, and she was Cherokee, the children would be enrolled as Cherokee children. They'd lose their identity as far as the Navajo is concerned. And as far as the government's concerned, they'll block that part out too if they can, so that just that part remains like it. And we have almost all of our people are mixed bloods, and there's about 3,000 full-blooded Cherokees on the reservation right now. The rest are all mixed bloods. And when you get mixed bloods, then you get these people with coming either from other tribes or you get non-Indian people. So they have to have some way of really being able to keep track of their own people, and that's how they do it. They just allow the woman to be the one that they're enrolled to them, and that's what they become. And they lose the identity to the other tribe.
What do you believe happens?
What do I believe happens to me when I die? Again, this is my philosophy of myself. I'm not practicing what for you to do. I'm telling you what you asked me what I believe. I believe that the body is made up of 3 parts: body, soul, and mind. Spirit. Body, soul, and spirit. If you follow the traditional religion, it's made up of Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost, three parts. And we believe that the body is made up of these three parts: body, soul, and a mind. This body, when it dies, is going to go right back to the earth, and that's going to be the end of the body. The spirit, however, we feel, and I feel, that spirit will linger on. Did you ever have anybody look at you and say, you look just like your Uncle Joe, you look just like your Uncle Bob, you look like your grandpa, you act like your Aunt Susie? Why? Because you do have a part of that spirit of that person in you. And we carry them over. And we believe the spirit will stay here among the people. And the soul part, the created part, goes back to its creator to be regenerated or what other he does, you know, that's his job there. I can't get into his role, but the soul part goes back to him. The soul part is the part which is the good or the bad of it. And now I'll throw this in because it goes along with what you're asking. Cherokees believe that inside us right now lives two twins. I have right inside me two twins right now. I have a good twin and a bad twin. Lives inside. And while every day when I get up, I must control which twin plays out that day. And you say, well, that don't make no sense to me, but this is what I'm saying. If the good comes out of me, and I exercise that good part of me, then I'm exercising the good twin. But if I allow evil to come out of me, and bad and envy, and I'm trying to get even with Debbie here, and I don't like Mark, and I get up on that side of the bed that I don't like her no more, I'm mad at her, because after all, she didn't write me last year, she didn't even send me a Christmas card. How about that? That's the bad twin inside you. But now the good twin on the other side says, oh, my sister was so busy, and she's prayed for you often, and she's been there, and she supports you, and she loves you, and she's there to support you right now. That's the good twin. So we have these two sides inside. Now there's an old Navajo who didn't call them the good twins, but he called them two dogs. And he was a chief. And this is how he described the religious aspect of inside of it. He said these two dogs are inside of me fighting. And he called for a missionary to come, and he said, missionary, he said, inside me lives terribleness. He said, I have a dog fighting all the time. He said, I have a good dog and a bad dog. And he said, they fight all the time inside. And the missionary said to him, well, which one wins? He said, well, it depends on which one I'm feeding. So the moral to that is, if you feed bad, you live on bad, that's all going to be part of your life. It's a part of your environment. So you want to take the good dog, that part, or as Cherokees would say, the good twin, the white twin, let it out and let it play, let it have its freedom, let it love, let it joy. Anybody else?
Christian religion believes, you go to heaven or hell. Is there hell as far as religion?
You didn't mean my ex-wife, did you? He wants to know if there's a heaven or hell. Obviously, he never met my ex-wife. Yes, there's a hell. Yeah. In all respect, we believe that you're rewarded for your good or your bad. And everybody knows that if you got a child living in your house, that child, if it's good, you do good things for it, you do more good, you find the good in it, but if it's bad, you got to punish it. We believe there is a certain amount of punishment, whether or not it's hell as hell is described under Christianity or not, I don't know. I can't tell you that. I've never been dead. But I can tell you this, I don't want to find out. That may be a part of Christianity that may be just right. But the point is, there is a scale there of good or bad, and somebody has to pay for the bad that's done. And when that bad twin comes out, you pay in your life. If you get up in the wrong side of the bed and you say to your wife, look, I hope this is your miserable day in your life. I'll bet you $1 when you get down the street, something miserable is going to happen to you. Because I believe that what goes around comes around, and what you put in somebody else's life comes back to you, and it's all part of a cycle. And whether or not the Creator will punish us for eternity, as Christianity says, that I can't answer you. But I do believe there's a form of punishment somewhere. Pay for it.
mentioned tolerance and love, for like brotherly love and love for the earth. Could you mention a few of the other like main beliefs of your particular religion, or the Cherokee religion?
Like what we respect, you mean?
Yeah.
I believe I don't have the right to disrespect anything that doesn't belong to me. And for one thing, the earth, we're not the landowners. He's the landowner. We're just the land keepers. And so I respect the earth because it's not mine. It's funny to me, we don't have any dumps on the Indian reservation because our people has been learned to pick up. The trash that we pick up now, we take to South Carolina in a big truck. You know where we get it from? The visitors that come there. They'll walk out of McDonald's and throw the paper down the middle of the street. That's disrespect. You got to learn to respect other people. You got to learn to respect trees. You got to respect the sun, the moon, the star people. And the star people come out at night. They come out for a reason. They don't just come out to make little lights up there. They come out to worship and to show their brightness and their light and to guide you. And so when you look up, you say, "Oh, star people, you are so beautiful tonight." Did you ever have anybody walk out and say, "God, that's an ugly star"? You don't say that. Why, it's beautiful. Why? Because you learn to respect it. But you know, I've heard people say, "Hey, I don't like that person." And yet the same person that created them stars created that person beside them. Now, I learned at a very young age. My dad said something that always amused me. I've been more tickled over it than abated since he told me that I was a little boy, probably, 4 or 5 years old enough to remember. My dad called me aside and said, "Son, you're big now." I thought, how big could I be? I'm only 5 years old. My dad says, "You're number one. You're a Democrat." Golly, man, that's got to be good. I'm a Democrat. What the heck that means? Then he said, "And number two, you're a Protestant." Golly, that's good. I don't know what that means either. And since then, all I know is that what he was trying to really teach me was that there are different kinds of people with different kinds of viewpoints, and I have to give you the respect that you deserve for your point of view and your opinion. Even though I don't believe it, baby, I still got to respect you for it. My teacher is 84 years old Catawba Indian chief, very old, and he teaches me things all the time, yet today. And sometimes I do not agree with what he says, but I agree that he has the right to his opinion, and I don't criticize him, and I block it in the back of my head for some future time because somewhere down the road I'm going to be able to use it. But it all goes back to this respect. Respect for those trees and all that other stuff. Let me put that back on there. Got it. Let me roll in. So, how did I do that? I guess I did right here. Now, if I upside down, I come out feet first. I guess that's my problem. And that wasn't very coordinated. But anyway, as you can see, all the different things that are in the creation, there are 36 different things that are all separate from each other. They don't have any connection with each other other than the fact that they were created the same as you and I was created. You can pick up one of these after the meeting's over and take it home and look at it. This is where the horoscopes come in at. This will help you relate to why you are what you are. The moon controls just about everything, the Indians believe. Did you ever dig a hole? Maybe you did, but if you didn't, go home and dig one. Mark it down. You dig a hole on a full moon day. You know what the full moon is? That's for the big one. That's the full one. I'm not thinking you're dumb, but I didn't know that the new moon was the little one. I thought it was the big one too. But the big moon, it comes out, you dig a hole, you take a little package, you put some garbage or something in it, and you bury it and cover it back up, and then make a note what you did. You're going to find out that when you dug that hole, buried that package, covered it up, and there's a whole bunch of dirt left over. You do that on the new moon, the little moon, the little skinny one, you dig the same hole, dig the same package, put the same package in there, and you don't have enough dirt to cover the hole up. How come? Because Mother Earth has a way of creating a cycle. We all know something about cycles, and in that cycle going around and around, it changes everything. The moon controls the water, brings it up. Somebody asked me one day from the fire department, now you thought they'd have more sense. They drove an ambulance on the fire department, and they said, I can't figure out, every time there's a full moon, we have babies born galore. I said, that don't take no rocket science to figure that out. If the water controls, the moon controls the water in the ocean and raises it, why doesn't it do the same in the mother and cause the birth to be born early? Yeah, that's why we have more births born during the full moon than we do during the new moon. Because the water is controlled by the moon. All of it's related. It's part of our culture to know that everything has a purpose and a reason. Like I told Debbie the other day, I said, don't worry about all this stuff. What's supposed to be will be, and what's not supposed to be won't be. You can't add to or take away from what the Creator has. He'll have here tonight everybody He wants here, and the people He don't want here won't be here. That's all it's doing. They'll have a car wreck, flat tires won't come, your wife will give them hell when they get home to something. For some reason, they won't be here. But if they're supposed to be here, she can bitch all she wants, tire will go flat, and He'll change it, and He'll be here. Because it's part of the cycle of who's going to be here. Creator knows. He knows when I was born. He knows when I'm going to die. I don't think I can add a day to my life unless the Creator wants it to happen. I believe that there's a time for us to come, a time for us to go. What I do is important, but more important, it's more important what I do with my life while I'm here. Because that's the part of my spirit that's going to stay right here and influence people for years to come. Is what I teach, what I live, and how I am. If I treat you bad, you'll remember. If I insult you going out the door, you're going to remember me for the rest of your life. And if I say something good to you, do something for you, help you some way, you're going to say, I'll remember him to the end of my term forever. It's part of our being, our worship. It's all part of a cycle. I got time for just about one or two more questions, and we're going to have to close out. Visions. Vision quests are very important to Native Americans. Every Native American hasn't gone through a request, but most all Native Americans have had dreams that become visions. There's a difference between having a Taco Bell and going home and go to bed with a beer on top of it and waking up in the middle of the night, you know, having something crazy going on, like children chasing you, your mother-in-law showing up at the door. That's whatever you do. You know, all that kind of garbage, you know. That's a dream. And when you wake up, you say, oh, thank God that wasn't true. You know, one night I had a dream a big dog bit me. And I woke up real quick and I thought, oh, God, I sure got that was a dream. But now, vision is something the Creator puts into your mind, a form of an image that He creates into your mind of a direction that He wants you to take in your life, or something that He wants you to correct in your life, or it's something of an importance between you and the Creator, and it's not to be taken lightly. If you can't understand it, I'd say find somebody that's spiritual and let them interpret, because Indians have always believed strongly in visions. It's a thing that led us and guided us and took us to where we're at today, is the dreams, the visions, the images that have come into our minds. I'm starting American Indian Worship Center. I charge you, give you an application, I charge you $5 to belong. Gives you the right to a newsletter once a year, ties to the reservation. We're going to help people that have chapters to sponsor families on the reservation. Right now we've fed over 2,000 Native American people in a year's time by buying food through World Food Bank. If you want to buy take an application home and join later on, you can. If you want to join tonight, I got the cards with me. We'll sign you up tonight. This is our flags that we've had created. It became part of a vision he was talking about. that I felt the need to do what the government wasn't doing for our people. They fall through the cracks a lot of times, where they make a little bit too much money to get this assistance and not enough money to get that assistance. And, you know, they've got all kinds of loopholes. My idea is if you've got a hungry person, feed that hungry person. You don't need to turn on the television and find children and across the United States that's hungry, brother. You just call me on the phone. I can take you tonight to Indian children are going to bed without enough to eat. And I know I can't save the whole world, but this is a way that we'll be able to unite other people who believe in the Indians and want to help them, and it's a way for you to be able to get involved. We're going to have people that can work directly with that Indian family. You don't call me, I'll give you their address or phone number, and you can dial directly to them and talk to them, find out their needs. It's just another way of meeting needs. So if you want to join, we have some applications here. We have some ID cards here. And we'll give you an ID card. And if anybody, I got 4 of these left, these keychains. The money for these are $10 a piece. The money of them go to this Indian family for their lawyer's fund. That family right there to help get the kids back. I have a whole big box of them. I only got 4 left. But they're $10 and I got 4 left. The only one you can get it. That is our version of the phoenix who rose from the ashes. This is the buffalo woman in the middle of the buffalo. There you can see it, get a little closer. The skull, the woman is rising from out of the ashes. We believe the Native American is going to rise again. We're going to come forward, and I like to be a lot like Martin Luther King when he said, I've got a dream, I got a dream. I got a dream that all of our children someday is going to have food at their table, clothes on their back, and a place to call home. Thank you.